Hello boys and girls, welcome to my channel, I'm For Classic and welcome to Benchart. So for today I decided to return to Fortnite, this time Chapter 2. The last time I tried up this game it was Season 5, so it was a long time ago, and this game really changed a lot over time. But let's start with the settings. This is the settings that I'm going to play in this video: 480p, VM distance at Epic, and all the rest of the stuff set to the minimum possible. So I decided to just jump out of the bus and go directly to the ground and start to play these around 15 minutes of gameplay. So let's start with the requirements for this game. This game, they ask for an E3 at 2.4 GHz. They don't actually say how much cores or the model, so They ask for 4 gigs of RAM and the mere Intel HD 4000. For the recommended, well, just forget about it, because we are far away from the recommended settings with this laptop. So I decided to test a multitude of different resolutions, because I will explain a little bit further why I've done it. But for me, the best for me, performance wise, it was the 480p, so I got an average of 73 frames per second with a 1% low of 49. So the experience, it was pretty much above 60 frames per second. There are times which dropped a little bit, but it was never below the 50 frames per second, which was good enough. Then if you jump to 480p, you still get an average of 66, a minimum of 45. 720p, your average will be around 50s with a 1% of 35. And if you use your native resolution with a mix between median settings, textures on median and stuff like that, your average will be 47 frames per second, but the 1% low it will be 30. I think for a competitive game like this one, I think it is useful to play above 60 frames per second. The only issue with this game is that it just stutters too much, and in this video it is actually even worse because I'm recording, because without recording it just doesn't stutter as much, but still, even without recording it does stutter a little bit. Also, in this video you can notice a lot of itching and stuttering on the sounds. This is only caused by the video recorder, which means that if you are going to play the game right now, you won't be having this issue. This issue, it is exclusive to the recorder, which causes this on my videos, and this is because the CPU, it is pretty much at 100%, and when I do record with this recorder and the CPU gets to 100%, it just causes this issue with the sound. But outside from that, if I'm not recording, there is no issue with the sound. That's the thing that you should know. So like I was telling you, 480p, low settings, VM distance at ultra, it is pretty much an experience mostly above 60 frames per second, which is good. But like I was telling you, the game just stutters too much, and sometimes it can be, you know, a little bit frustrating, because the stutter sometimes happens in the moments where you really need that split second to kill someone. So it can be a little bit distracting, but it is pretty much the same thing as Chapter 1. On Chapter 1 this issue was also happening, and this is pretty much normal for Fortnite or PUBG. This is quite a thing in the Unreal Engine 4 games. Even on my desktop I noticed it a little bit, but not as much as in this laptop anyway. But still, yeah, you can actually notice some stuttering or itching going on at some points of this video. So I decided to include that multitude of tests, because you really need to choose a good balance between a good resolution or frame rate. Because if you prefer frame rate, which, well, this is something that I do prefer for competitive games, especially Fortnite. If you prefer frame rate, that is very good, because the response time and your movements will be more faster, more natural. But the problem with playing with 480p is that most of the game will be pixelated at a distance, and sometimes it is hard to distinguish a player from another random object. For example, sometimes they are near a tree, and you can really evaluate if you are looking to a tree or to a guy just standing still there. So it's sometimes, or a rock. Sometimes it's a little bit complicated, so compromising the resolution to get the better frame rate sometimes might be a bad idea regarding to, you know, combat at high distances. But it all depends on what you really want. For example, if you choose much more resolution, you will compromise your frame rate, but your understanding about what you are seeing at a distance will be much better. At 720p, you will be easily distinguishing a rock from a player, something that you can do at 480p, but unfortunately the frame rate will suffer with that, and you no longer have those 60 frames per second most of the time. So unfortunately, this is a compromise that you need to make with this laptop. That's why I decided to include a bunch of results for all those resolutions for you to choose what suits you the most. And for me, even despite that, I'm pretty much a close range fighter, so I do prefer to play at 480p. So guys, that's all that I want to talk about Fortnite Chapter 2. I'm very happy that they still continue to work in this game a lot. Epic is making millions of money with their Fortnite, but still it is good to see that they continue to work and launch new maps and content all the time. I'm not a fan of the game. In fact, I don't play Fortnite, but I do respect Epic for what they have been doing over time, and I know that a lot of people love this game. It is pretty much a love or hate game, and I'm more into the hate type of the game. Well, I'm not into the hate, I just don't like it, but I just don't hate it. It's just not my style, and I fully respect Epic for the work they have done. So that's it, guys. So hope you keep enjoying the rest of the video, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye.